California, one of the most beautiful states in the country, from its stunning coastline to its world famous cities. But politically, it's a different story. We're going to look at California this morning, who's the problem and who's stepping into races to solve the problem. We begin with Gavin Newsom, the main problem. Homelessness in the state, fraud, illegals, protecting transgenders, the list is long. And standing beside him, his wife, Jennifer. She says she's not the first lady of California. She calls herself the first partner because, she has to be gender neutral. And in the Newsom household, behind closed doors, their kids can't watch anything on TV that slightly projects common sense. And now they want to target young boys. Watch.
Boys, we all know, I think, are increasingly realizing that boys are moving away from sort of the more progressive boys that spend time online are moving a little bit I'm trying not to be political here, but are moving to the right and being sort of influenced by the Andrew Tates and some of that sort of alt-right socialization online that we know is very, very dangerous. My husband and I were alarmed when our kids were watching sports online and my son knew about Andrew Tate and thought he was pretty cool and thought that his Republican grandfather, who's not a Trumper, but a fiscal conservative, thought that my father would like Andrew Tate. So that's scary. We're like one of the most progressive households, and our son is confused and asking all these questions. We're working on legislation to hold tech companies accountable and help them be a force for good in our kids and families' lives, to really provide all the best in class resources and support for youth so that they don't go down this rabbit hole of very, very dangerous and limiting narratives around ultimately what it means to be a girl and what it means to be a boy. We owe it to them and ourselves to kind of heal this gift of modern technology, but curb it to be a force for good. I mean, look, the Gov and I, we have 3 more years. We're trying to institutionalize our values so that they carry on beyond our term.
Let's hope not. Let's bring in West Coast commentator Sam Myerjovsky, host of the What's Right show. Sam, she said it multiple times. It's dangerous. What is wrong with the Newsom family? What woke world do they live in?
Well, Vanessa, thanks for having me on. Great to see you again. I don't know about you. I find the first partner of California almost as insufferable as her husband to listen to. And behind all that, all those words that she threw at us, is something pretty sinister and dangerous, which is, I guess boys being boys and girls being girls is wrong in her worldview and needs to be corrected via onerous government oversight, cracking down on social media companies and the like. And the thing that I really don't like, first of all, I mean, Andrew Tate, I think, I don't think young men should follow Andrew Tate. I don't think Andrew Tate is quote unquote conservative. I think there are plenty of other conservative voices that are probably influencing her kids. She's specifically choosing him as an extreme example because, it's a good one to latch onto. But here's what's going on behind the scenes, and I love it. What's happening in the Newsom household is the same thing that's happening across the country. Young men, and it doesn't matter if parents are Joe Schmo or Gavin Newsom, young men are tired of being talked down to. And they want affirmation that their masculinity, their emerging masculinity is okay and is acceptable and isn't toxic. And by the way, women, girls want this too, right? Because we're talking about a millennia of evolutionary biology that for some reason these radicals want to reorganize in the span of a decade. So this is it's happening, Vanessa. She's the Newsoms right now are desperate to seize the moment and thrust themselves into the 2028 election. Gavin wants to be president. California, I don't think is a good resume. We could talk about that extensively. I lived in California almost 40 years, almost my entire life. And my family and I relocated to Las Vegas, to Nevada, and haven't looked back because, the state has been absolutely ruined by these clowns. Everything they touch it turns into disaster.
You're absolutely right. And I'm just stuck on her. You're right with the example that she gave is one that she just wants to hang on to because she knows that's an extreme name. But as a mother, I would love for my child to come to me and say, hey, I'm following somebody and I'm really a fan of this person who has common sense and has values, but not with the Newsom family. They want the complete opposite.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's almost a throwaway line in there, but apparently her dad is a Republican. But he's not a MAGA Republican. They always have to say that. And I'm thinking, if gosh forbid, what if my daughter? I have two daughters and I've got a son. So I'm in the thrust of it now. They're all teens as of this year, and first off, one, I've always, we have very robust, open conversations in our household. It never is about don't listen to that, or don't listen to your, I've got some liberals in my family too, and so well, hear them out, see what they think, and you tell me what makes more sense to you. I encourage my kids to use logic, and we are here now. This is almost everything about the current Democratic Party, the left in America today, wrapped up into one clip. And I'm so happy you played this clip because it's all in there. Tiresome, stripping, denuding of genetic programming. These are the people that believe in science. So I guess, thousands of years of biology out the window. And then on top of that, oh my gosh, a competing opinion. No, get out, bundle your kids up. So it's, to me, the real, if you're actually going to protect kids from viewpoints, I think when we look back at this era, the most damaging stuff for kids was all of this gender confusion that these people,
Right.
that the Newsom'S have put out there. And do you know how many teen suicides we have because of this crap? And it's that we don't even know the half of it, Vanessa.
You're absolutely right. They're confused. And it's parents like that who are confusing their kids when she's calling herself, the first partner and not the first lady. At a young age, these kids start questioning and wondering about genders. But, the Gavin Newsom family household, they need to look at the big picture. You're right. We'll talk about 2028 here in a moment. But just like you said, California is not a resume. There are over 200,000 homeless people in California. That's 1 in 4 homeless people in the U.S. live in California. We know there's a huge drug problem. Sam, we see video all the time. These homeless people on drugs, the new zombie drug that's out, that's what they look like, or are zombies in the streets. It's a sanctuary state. All illegals are welcome under Gavin Newsom. The Newsom support men in women's restrooms and in women's sports, and they're wanting to start brainwashing boys at a young age. Typical liberal mindset to go after our youth. So everything that they're doing wrong, they want to brainwash our children to thinking the same way.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So I always think about, that by design, California gives away generous subsidies for all the wrong, we'll call it behavior, right? And what I mean by this is, the system produces a result, and what you pay for, what you subsidize, you will encourage and get more of, right? So you mentioned specifically there, illegals, it's a sanctuary state, and you mentioned the homeless. Well, those are two groups that have been encouraged to flock to California. They're given huge benefits there. They're given subsidies. They're given, the red carpet is rolled out for them. So California is attracting problems, and we're talking about homelessness, from all around the country. We're talking about illegal immigration from all around the world. And the result is the state is broke in spite of the fact that it taxes people to death. And you know, and functionally, great American cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco have devolved into public toilets where you're afraid to go out. You know, I always love this story because I still have plenty of friends in California, and they kind of tease me about moving to Vegas because, you know, well, you to go to a restaurant, you got to walk through a casino. And I go, what are you talking about, Mr. LA guy? You when you go to a restaurant, you have to walk through a public toilet. And then when you get to that restaurant, you're worried that you or your wife's, you know, jewelry or wallets are going to get robbed at gunpoint. I don't have those concerns. You know, I mean, we're a law and order state. We got a Republican governor. We have a Republican sheriff. We arrest people for crimes. We prosecute them. We put them into jail. Like, you know, what it's the simple stuff, right? So they've encouraged the homeless to come. They give them enormous subsidies. They then encourage the same for illegals, right? They then don't prosecute for crime. So that's another behavior that is subsidized in a manner of speaking. And you know, and I'm looking at it as a lawyer. You know, I'm a practicing attorney, still in California, but mainly in Las Vegas now. And I you know, and I look at this and I go, it's all a matter of law and order and enforcement. And you create a structure where you're encouraging bad behavior, you're going to get a result. And so people will always ask, Vanessa, why? And the why is because there is so much grift off of all of this, right? There's so much money involved, and it's going straight into the pockets of the friends and family of Gavin Newsom. It's a vast patronage network, and that's why the fraud investigations are going to be so important. I'm keeping a close eye on that.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of fraud coming out of there. President Trump and his administration have been saying in the billions. So absolutely, we're keeping an eye there. But don't California our country. We do not want the entire country to be like California. Now, when it comes to the weather and the scenery, absolutely, but not politically. There's been a lot of talk and rumors about Gavin Newsom possibly running in 2028. What are you hearing?
Well, Gavin has been preparing for this for the last 15 years of his life. And this is his moment. So my very important thing to say here is it is 100% a go. Now, what is interesting is, I don't know what your impression is of this, but I don't know if it's going that well. Like he's kicked this race off. You know, he was supposed to be the anointed front runner. And the polling shows it's kind of all over the place, but Kamala Harris is still pretty strong. And what did she do? She launched a silly website and continues to make an occasional appearance and deliver a word salad. Meanwhile, Newsom
and a book tour that no one showed up for.
Right. I know I have a bias, right? And I'm very open and transparent about that bias, but I don't think, like, objectively, she is not a good candidate, right? And she completely bombed on the national stage. And yet she is still polling ahead of Gavin Newsom. I mean, why do you think that is? Because I think that Newsom has, everywhere he turns, he makes terrible mistakes. And his wife, by the way, back to her, she's not helping. Did you see that San Quentin thing where she said all this stuff is resurfacing, all the nonsense? A few years back, she met with prisoners at San Quentin, and she relayed the story of how she was in a golf cart and rolled over her sister. They were both very young kids. By all accounts, a tragic accident. And she was trying to relate to these convicted murderers, you know, hardened men who have done terrible things. And she's telling them, well, you guys were probably, you know, you guys made some mistakes here. You made there were accidents too, you know. I just, you know, I was able to get out of it because of my privilege. And when you say don't California, you know, my country, I'm with you on that. Imagine if it becomes the policy of the government of the United States to look at first degree murder as some sort of, hapless accident, and these criminals being actually victims of circumstance. Terrible.
Absolutely terrible. And also, you were talking about some examples. We could go on all day about the dumb things Newsom and his wife say. And one of the ones that comes to my mind, Sam, is when he was on stage in front of a minority crowd and says, "I'm just like you. I didn't do well in school, and I can't pass a test, and I can't read." What? What a slap in the face to anyone. And but he, again, trying to relate to them, but says things that, "Oh, you're stupid. I'm stupid too." He just called the whole crowd stupid. So yes, it's time for him to step aside. I can't wait for his last day in office, and 2028 is going to be interesting on the Democratic side. So eager to see that. We are watching his replacement closely, though, the race for governor. President Trump recently endorsing Steve Hilton, his vision for California: reduce taxes for workers and end the bureaucratic war on business. He also wants to restore the California dream of a single family home for every family, ensure that 100% of students meet state math and English standards. Right now, Sam, polls are showing him either up or tied. One poll has him up 6 points. He's touting that lead today, posting that all over his social media pages. But then you have Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, who he too is wanting to focus on California's homelessness problem and the state's crime rates. Your thoughts, Sam, on these two candidates?
Well, I'll tell you, I really like Steve Hilton. I'm not that impressed by Bianco, and I won't really dwell on it. But I think Steve could be a transformational governor for California. Now, far be it for me to second guess the president. I would have held back on an endorsement at this time, because remember, California has a type of an open primary where basically the top two vote getters, irrespective of party, advance to the general, right? It's called the jungle primary. So the idea, and it's been talked about quite a bit, I'm not announcing anything new, is that it could be, if with a lot of Democrats running, Swalwell's in the mix, there's a lot of stuff happening around him. If the Republicans get the top two votes, then in the general election come fall, you would have just two Republicans and no one else on the ticket. An interesting thing, and a backfire for a system designed essentially to squeeze out Republicans. So that's, I would have preferred to have sort of split the Republican vote and the protest vote against the Democrats, and had that happen. But that said, look, Hilton is a phenomenal candidate. One word of caution is there's still a super majority of some of the most insane Democrats you will ever meet. I mean, these are like, nuclear powered leftists in the state legislature. And so, I think back to, and I was quite young when he became governor, but nonetheless, I remember it vividly when Arnold Schwarzenegger came in with, big ambitions of how he was going to fix California. And then even back then, he ran into the state legislature, who just basically stopped him dead in his tracks. And then ultimately he kind of gave that up. But I'll tell you, in Nevada, we've got a Democrat, almost a super majority of Democrats in the legislature. And one Republican governor was able to act as a bulwark against their insanity and keep it all in check. So could it happen? Absolutely. Is there an appetite in California to do something different? Is the anger that flows from the Palisades fires, I mean, that is going to be a scandal that continues to develop. So I'd recommend keeping an eye on that. A lot of stuff happening in California, and hopefully, all for a better future.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to talk about LA today. The city of Los Angeles, city of angels. Former reality star Spencer Pratt, running for governor there. He is talking about bringing back common sense. He has been very vocal since the fires, because he and his wife Heidi, who you know from The Hills back in the early 2000s, they have been, very vocal on social media. They documented their journey. Their house burned down. They talked about how they fled to a family member's house. Heidi would cry with her babies, asking her mommy what's wrong. And then Spencer just pretty much took off from there. After the series of The Hills back in the early 2000s, they were still popular, but now they've really, since they're vocal politically, he more so than she is, they've both really taken off. He has gone to Washington, D.C. and spoken to Congress, and now he's running for governor there. He wants to bring back common sense. I'm sorry, mayor there. He wants to bring back common sense. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, to be clear, no fentanyl in the streets, no fentanyl at the parks, no meth, no drugs in front of our kids anywhere. When I'm mayor, all the laws that exist will be enforced, period. I'm not creating new laws. Thankfully, these lovely Democrats in power have made enough laws that I'll be able to enforce everything I need to do. It's very simple. If you're torturing and abusing dogs, jail. If you're doing drugs and you're not a criminal in the sense, even though that's a crime, but you're not hurting anybody but yourself, we're going to get you mandatory treatment. And we're going to make sure you actually have opportunity by getting sober versus just giving you a $750,000 bed that you don't care about sleeping in because you're on fentanyl and you're going to be in the little fentanyl upside down zombie hang, and that's your bed. If you are a psycho crazy person like there are that are attacking people, stabbing old ladies in the neck at 10:30 in the morning just last week for no reason, you're going to jail.
Love it. Your thoughts on Spencer Pratt?
Yeah, that was a great interview that he gave John Cobelt, a good friend in LA, and I love it. Here's one thing people often ask me, how do I raise my profile? How do I, if I want to do something in politics and make a difference? And I always say, pick an issue, stick to it, talk about it, tweet about it, post about it incessantly, and you will get traffic. And Spencer's an example of this. Just as a study of how to rocket forward, you alluded to it. It's absolutely true. So he basically, in the wake of the fires, and the perception of him, I think, was sort of as a washed up has-been celebrity, right? But after the
You're
fires,
absolutely right, because I wasn't really a fan during The Hills. I was not a really big fan of Spencer. Heidi, yes, but not really Spencer. And then I saw him step forward, and I was like, wow, I like this guy. He's fighting for, because you remember during the fires, they didn't have water in the city, right? For the firefighters to fight these fires. And so that was his first real post was, hey, where's the water? Why is there no water here for firefighters to put out these blazes that are just torching and burning down our neighborhoods? And you're right. He stuck with that one message, and then it just took off to where we are now. So I think that is, a great message for anyone who wants to get involved and fight. Find your one main concern that concerns you and your community and just fight for that.
Absolutely true. And he's done it. And, and people were just thirsty for someone to come in and bring it. Because, if you think the state of California is so poorly run, LA is even worse. Look at that moron mayor that they have. Barely string a sentence together without reading from a note card. He's a complete idiot. I mean, and I don't even know what you guys are doing out there in Los Angeles. You ought to be embarrassed by yourselves. A great city with so much potential that got created out of nothing, and you are destroying it. You got handed this beautiful place. I was telling you this during the break. If the Democrats could control weather, they'd find a way to screw that up too. I mean, the California with the ocean, with the mountains, with an incredibly fertile Central Valley, rivers, lakes, everything that it has it made in the shade, ports, oriented on the Pacific Rim. I could go on and on of the natural abundance that is in California, and the Democrats have squandered this at every chance that they get. So I wish Spencer Pratt all the luck. I think he has a chance because he's saying he's a younger guy. He's not stuffy. He's not your typical, Republican in a suit. He's not Rick Caruso, who's just a I mean, a very talented developer and a smart guy, but is a political loser, and he needs to disappear. He's just he's a sorry sack of opportunistic, you know what? And I'm so disappointed in him. And but he came close to winning against the abomination that's mayor now. So I think Pratt really can take this home and hopefully clean up the city.
He's real, and that's why people love him. But he's also, a person who became famous off a reality show. But it's not just that. You have Halle Berry. You have more celebrities coming out tired of the Newsom reign there in California, and they're seeing what he's doing. For the longest time, Sam, celebrities, actors, actresses couldn't come out and say things like that because they wouldn't get work. They wouldn't get a job in Hollywood. But now you're seeing more of that. And so when you see these famous people come out supporting MAGA, supporting President Trump, supporting conservative values, then the people who follow these celebrities and look up to these celebrities, they start changing their tune. I've never given up on California. I've spent a lot of time on the West Coast during the campaign trail. There are so many conservatives in California. And so I would just always tell them, I have my eye on you. Don't give up. Keep up the good fight, because there are so many good conservative people in the state of California.
The most brilliant thing that Trump did in 2024 was hold rallies in California. And you know why? First of all, strategically for, activating those Republicans, getting them to vote and bringing up his total count, right? The popular vote was won that year by Trump. So it took away the Democrat, crying on that. But the other reason is that it activated, kind of reactivated, and it sparked this, the kind of some pride in Republican circles. And I know you were observing that and following that very closely. A great move. It will go down in history books as one of the turning points in California. And I would also add the fire up in the Palisades was such a catalyst to waking up. What do we call them in politics? We call them normies, right? People who don't follow politics that much, who probably, because it's feelings, lean center left, but really haven't thought about things. And all of a sudden, they're like, my house burned down, or my neighbor's house, or my neighborhood's gone. Like everything that I had is gone. Even if because in the Palisades, even if your house is still standing, your neighborhood is like vanished. So with your neighborhood gone, your whole just everything that you had is not the same. And so they started thinking, well, why did this happen? I pay all this money in taxes. We have these reservoirs. They were empty. Why did they drain the water into the ocean? Because of a little fish or a little toad or whatever the hell that was. The environmentalists. And they start thinking about it. So Vanessa, to your point about not giving up on California, we shouldn't. You're absolutely right. And because I think people are coming around, and whether they're revealing their true feelings, I don't know, Halle Berry, maybe she was a closeted, MAGA supporter all this time, or they're just coming to their senses and starting to adjust a little bit and realize that the people that they supported politically are complete losers and actually cost them everything in their life.
You're right. And it's time to make a change. And so we're seeing that in the polls, good poll numbers that we're starting to see coming out of California. California continue to put up the good fight. We're rooting for you here all over the country. Sam, you host the What's Right show. How can people watch you?
Well, first of all, find me on X at What's Right Sam. And then the What's Right show, wherever you get your podcast, quick 40 minutes, national news, local perspective from Vegas. It's a unique show. We have a lot of fun. So if you want to quickly know what's going on in the world, put me in your rotation.
Sounds good. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for stopping by today.
My pleasure, Vanessa. Always fun.
To the warriors of epic fury, I say well done. You're the backbone of our country. Your skill, your bravery, and sheer guts and grit showed the world what America is all about. I'm proud of you. We're proud of you. President is proud of you. Job well done. But stay vigilant and stay ready. To the families of our fallen, Your sacrifice was in service of a historic cause, and we will always remember your heroes, our heroes. We will continue to honor them. And to our Israeli allies, thank you for being a brave, capable, and willing ally on this battlefield. The rest of the world and the rest of our so-called allies saw what real capabilities look like. They should take some notes. Our troops, our American warriors, deserve the credit for this day. But God deserves all the glory. Tens of thousands of sorties, refuelings, and strikes carried out under the protection of divine providence. A massive effort with miraculous protection. Dude 44 Bravo spoke for all of us. God is good.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth giving a big pat on the back to our brave men and women overseas. The 2-week ceasefire deal has already seen its fair share of drama and fake news headlines. Part of the deal, war in Iran, was for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz so ships could travel through. That was part of the deal. Somewhere out there in social media land, the rumor got out that Iran closed the strait again. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says those reports are false.
With respect to the first reporting out of Iranian state media, the president was made aware of those reports before I came to the podium. That is completely unacceptable. And again, this is a case of what they're saying publicly is different privately. We have seen an uptick of traffic in the Strait today, and I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly, and safely. That is his expectation. It has been relayed to him privately that is what's taking place, and these reports publicly are false.
And President Trump releasing this statement in the overnight hour, saying this: all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until a real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, he says, then the shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. He goes on to say at the bottom, no nuclear weapons, and the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. Well, bombs still went off yesterday, although a deal was in place, but the agreement isn't an immediate fix.
To that point, again, I haven't seen these reports. I'm not verifying them. Not that I don't trust you, Trevor, but I want to go back and check with the experts here at the White House. I would just say, and I would echo what the vice president said this morning, this is a fragile truce. Ceasefires are fragile by nature. We've seen this with respect to the 12-day war with Iran and Israel last year. It takes time sometimes for these ceasefires to be fully effectuated. And one of the results of Operation Epic Fury was we completely dismantled Iran's command and control center, which makes it difficult for them to pass messages up and down the chain. And so we understand that. I would caution a little bit of patience, but of course we want to see the ceasefire effectuated and abided by all parties as quickly as possible.
Thank you. American
40 days of fighting before a deal was made. 13,000 targets in Iran were struck. This is a fragile ceasefire, with U.S. officials claiming victory, but the question remains, what comes next? And during Operation Epic Fury, a U.S. F-15 fighter jet was shot down, triggering a massive rescue mission involving over 100 aircraft. And now an Army veteran is facing serious federal charges, accused of leaking classified information about that downed jet, information that quickly made its way to the media. How did the media know one warfighter, that is, was still missing? Well, investigators say it's because that information was leaked. FBI Director Kash Patel posting, the FBI and our partners have arrested a former South Command employee who supported our top-level military warfighters for allegedly transmitting classified information to a member of the media. Prosecutors say the information included non-public operational details, potentially exposing tactics, capabilities, and vulnerabilities tied to the high-risk rescue mission. All right, now to Congress and the Save America Act. We haven't talked about that in a few days because Congress is on break. They've been on break for the last 2 weeks. Isn't that nice? Our Allison Steinberg met up with Jake Lang on Capitol Hill with a message for Congress when they finally return to work.
Hello, everyone. Allison Steinberg here with LINDELLTV. We are outside of the nation's capital, and we're here with pardoned January 6er Jake Lang, who is dressed as Kill Bill, petitioning, filibustering to kill the Phil.
Amen. We are in an existential crisis. The illegal invaders have not only taken over our country, but our elections are in jeopardy. We know that 2020 was stolen. And if we do not end the filibuster and pass the SAVE Act, we will have illegal immigrants destroying the 2028 election. And quite honestly, President Trump will be the last white president America ever has.
It is concerning that we're still having to have this conversation and that the Senate refuses to act on this critical matter.
Yep.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's such hesitation within the Senate to get rid of the filibuster and pass the Save America Act once and for all?
Well, the Senate has been marred with this feckless, like jellyfish attitude that they don't want to do anything controversial ever. And the American people are saying this old, weak-kneed, feckless leadership that Thune and Mitch McConnell have been running this old boys country club, they need to get actionable. They won't pass it because the American people know that our elections are stolen and they're in on it. The Republican Party's complicit in many of these elections, allowing the Democrats to win certain elections, and they allow, the Democrats to take certain areas. So we're literally living in a time where the Democrats and the Republicans are both working together in order to steal our elections. And that's why the Make America Great Again, America First patriots like myself, President Trump, are pushing because the rhinos got to go. MAGA needs its place, and this is what we're fighting for.
Absolutely. And this is an issue that's so near and dear to so much of America's heart. I mean, 85% of Americans support voter ID to vote in elections. It's pretty much required in every country but America. What happens next if the Senate isn't able to get this done?
Well, we're going to see an influx of people that have used this kind of like intermediate way to get in with the driver's licenses. So illegals have been getting driver's licenses all over. In fact, we know this because they're crashing trucks into families. God forbid Indian drivers are, TikTok scrolling and just taking 18-wheelers and plowing through people. They all need their licenses taken away. But because they were able to get these licenses through California's back doors, getting illegals licenses, they're going to be using those to vote. There is no way to tell if somebody has a driver's license and they go to vote if they're illegal, if they're a citizen or not. And so we're seeing these different type of backdoor accesses, and this is what the SAVE Act is going to crush, all of those different backdoor accesses that they have to vote in our elections. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. If you think people from another country that do not share our value system here can vote in our elections, you're not an American.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting that even I think it's over 70% of Democrats support voter ID. So again, it's an issue that is near and dear to so much of America's heart, yet they just seem to stall.
Should be nonpartisan.
It really shouldn't be. Yeah, I mean, it's like they can't seem to come to an agreement on anything here. Everything is controversial. They can't even get DHS funded for that matter.
There's too much of this inside baseball that we see in Washington, and we were talking about that earlier as far as trading off, the new attorney general pick to be somebody who's going to be not like a super deep state marauder in order to pass the SAVE Act. So Trump's able, now he's basically saying, I'll put in somebody that's, kind of like a fence rider to the AG position, and Thune, you will pass the SAVE Act. So there's too much of this compromising we're seeing, and it sucks. It really hurts my heart because when the American people got all three branches of government in the Republican Party, we expected that President Trump's agenda would be listened to, that all of the government would follow through with it. And the fact that President Trump has to kind of argue back and forth and like trade off attorney generals for, different, Senate leadership positions, it's crazy that we still are like, even though we have the Supreme Court, we have both houses, we have the Oval Office, we still have to play these like pedantic, shallow elementary school games, all this politics in DC. We know, obviously, that this is what these people thrive off of, but it's the American people who are suffering as they get their attorney general pick in order, they're shuffling around political capital, but it's the American people who are paying the price.
Yeah, Absolutely. Every day that is becoming more and more apparent, especially with DHS still unfunded. It's the American people suffering in airports, the hardworking federal employees that aren't receiving paychecks. I mean, it's just unacceptable. And I just am curious to get your thoughts. How do you think all of these political games and all of these ridiculous chess moves to try to get what we want, when Republicans do ultimately, hold all branches of power right now?
Why do we have to play games? This is that the Democrats don't have power. Why do we have to compromise? Why do we have to shift people around that won't be the best position? We need to get somebody who's going to eviscerate the deep state and the attorney general, and we shouldn't have to compromise that for the SAVE Act. We shouldn't have to make the decision, do we arrest all the illegal invaders and Democrats that are stealing our country, or do we get the SAVE Act passed? We shouldn't have an AG that is going to be feckless, or the SAVE Act. We should be able to have both. Yeah. President Trump is president. The Republicans are in power. Why are we trading off, one thing for another? We want our cake and to eat it too.
It certainly is confusing. It does seem like Democrats are somehow still running the show, even though they're not in power at the moment. But how do you think this is going to affect midterm and voter turnout for the 2026 midterms? I mean, it seems like there's not a lot of energy behind Republican voters at this point in time. Or am I wrong? I hope I'm wrong.
Well, I hope you're wrong too, but the disenfranchisement of people, the voters, know that their votes aren't being counted. They know that when they go and they're fighting with their whole livelihoods online, you have these amazing people going out, getting people signed up for voter ID, getting their voter IDs and getting them on the ballots. How will you get people enthused to go vote in an election that they know is rigged? How can we win the midterms if we have not fixed 2020 stolen election, if we haven't fixed a lot of the stolen election 2024? I mean, there was many places in Pennsylvania. Nothing's fixed. So we are going to see voter turnout be completely trashed, because what do people have to go out and rally behind? Where's our major wins in this matter? We don't have major wins here, and that's going to keep people at home.
So what should we do? What can we do? What's the message moving forward to try to reclaim the nation and take our elections back?
We have to kill the filibuster. Let's just start at step one. I mean, obviously, we need 100 million deportations. That's the ultimate goal right here. And in order to get those type of actions put forth, we need our elections completely clean and clear. If we don't pass the SAVE Act, America, like I said, you're going to see all of our politicians start to be replaced. H-1B invaders and all these different hijab-wearing invaders, one by one. Every single one of your good hometown, old-school Americans is going to be replaced by a Somali. It's happening every single day, and this is what we need to prevent.
Yeah, it's happening right now in Congress, right behind us. I'm looking at you, Ilhan Omar. All righty. Well, Jake Lang, thanks for being here with us. Thanks for shedding some light on this important issue. And
Phil, let's go, guys. Save America. Pass the SAVE Act. President Trump, we stand behind you. Thank you for your strong leadership in this matter. We will continue to fight until these feckless rhinos learn their place and abide by the will of the American people. God bless America. Thanks, Allison.
All right. As you know, the Save America Act is one of the most high-profile election bills this year, but right now it's stuck in the Senate with no clear path to passage. Over on the House side, Clayton Fuller has been sworn in as the newest member of the House of Representatives. Fuller won his runoff election this week in Georgia, filling the seat of former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. His win gives Republicans a much-needed vote in the House because the majority, as you know, is very slim. While Fuller will finish Greene's term, he will have to run again for a full term. So congratulations to him. We need that vote in the House. Another countdown this morning. We're now counting down to Artemis 2 landing back on Earth. Today we'll go behind the scenes and show you what blankets the spacecraft and the people who put it all together. That's next here on My Mornings with Vanessa.
Have you ever noticed how complicated it is to get your medication? When you're not feeling well or you're running low on something, it turns into a whole process. You call the doctor, your appointment's days away, you sit in the waiting room, then you stand in line at the pharmacy, and sometimes they don't even have it. That's the old system. It is slow, it's frustrating, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's why I've been telling you about All Family Pharmacy. My family loves it and I use it myself. You go online, you choose what you need, you fill out a short medical form, and one of their licensed doctors reviews your request. If it's appropriate, they write up the prescription and it ships straight to your front door. This is how healthcare should work. If you believe in being prepared like I do, this is one of the smartest moves you can make. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use the code Lindell10 to save 10% today.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Artemis 2 is on its way home. The 10-day mission is nearing a close as NASA astronauts traveled around the moon in a lunar flyby. Looking at live pictures now from NASA, the 4 astronauts on board conducted deep space experiments, capturing historic images of the Earth and the moon. They also tested systems for future missions. The mission is nearing its final phase, re-entry into Earth, and then splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. That will take place tomorrow. And the Navy is already there, waiting on the return. The USS John P. Murtha will serve as the recovery ship, recovering the astronauts and the spacecraft. And we've been able to view the entire 10-day journey, getting inside looks and behind-the-scenes footage. Here's a look at what's called blanketing.
So blanketing, basically anything that goes in space either has to have a special coating or blanket. And what we do here is make the blankets. So those layers are water protecting instruments, different hardware, satellites, whatever the case may be. And we basically, we're pattern makers. We're designing for spacecrafts like we would for a body. And right over here we have our layup table. Usually this is what we use to do our bulk layups, which are 12 feet by 4 feet, and they're how many layers the thermal engineer says we should have. They do testing to decide what they want that temperature to be regulated at, whether they want to keep it colder, they want to keep it warmer, and whatever the case may be, that's what we do. We have 2 sewing machines. This is our newest one right here, and this is the one we use a lot right now when we do need to sew. The interesting thing that's happened here lately is that I've gotten to work on the zero gravity indicator doll, which was a lot of fun because that's probably the most sewing I've done here in years, which was really interesting, and I got to be more creative in a different way. This is the moon right here, so working on that. There's going to be a SD card that's going to be put on the Rise doll, so I'm working through on that, how to do that, because it has to have a zipper. So I will be working on that today, figuring out how we're going to put the zipper on the bottom of the moon. The SD card can go in here, but my concern is because I didn't make it with material here, the SD card could slide through here. So it's a little bit of trial and error because I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. One thing that makes me really proud is that something that I touched, that I made, is going to be around for a while, and it is going up in space. There's no other way to say it. It's a proud moment.
And someone you may have seen in that video making the journey with the astronauts is a fifth passenger named Rise. Let's introduce you to Rise.
We are holding our zero G indicator Rise.
We are thrilled to announce today the winner of the Zero G Indicator or ZGI contest. And our buddy here named Rise was submitted by second grader Lucas Yee from California. Welcome aboard, Rise. This little guy, Rise, really resonated with us because the theme is actually the Earthrise photo taken on Apollo 8, which is inspirational to all of us. And it is a mission that sort of mirrors our own.
How cute is Rise, all designed by a second grader. The astronauts have conducted a historic mission, and they have had a little fun, as you can see, in their off time. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you My Pillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our My Pillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our My Pillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% US-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
Let's take a look at the markets today on MarketWatch.com. The Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, all down at this hour. Not too bad. A big day yesterday. Huge bounce back. The markets rallied back after a 2-week peace deal was put in place with Iran and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. We saw oil prices go down as well. Good news for our gas prices. But we're seeing a little red this morning, but that's okay. President Trump posting again yesterday Do not be a panicking. We saw a huge jump yesterday and looking forward to more of a bounce back in the days ahead. Our daily Bible verse of the day comes from the book of John. The Bible says this: "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." And that'll do it for us here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good day, America.
If you want to drop extra pounds, boost energy levels, and reduce swelling in your legs and feet, then this message is for you. Pure Health Research is on a mission to make America healthy again, and two of their best-selling health supplements are leading the way. First is Liver Health Formula. Over 100 million Americans have a sluggish liver that's riddled with fatty deposits. This can kill your metabolism, pile on the pounds, and make you feel tired. Liver Health Formula takes care of that. It supports thriving liver health with special nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. This is one of the easiest ways to slim down and revitalize your energy levels. Next is lymph system support. If you struggle with fluid buildup or swelling in your legs, ankles, and feet, this is for you. The natural ingredients in lymph system support help gently flush away extra fluid and toxins out of your body. And right now, for a limited time, you get 35% off Liver Health Formula and Lymph System Support, along with 50 plus other health supplements that Pure Health Research has to offer. So head over to purehealthresearch.com and use promo code Lindell at checkout. That's purehealthresearch.com, promo code Lindell to save 35% on your order today. For the first time ever, we're bringing you My Pillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our My Pillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our My Pillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Have you ever noticed how complicated it is to get your medication? When you're not feeling well or you're running low on something, it turns into a whole process. You call the doctor, your appointment's days away, you sit in the waiting room, then you stand in line at the pharmacy, and sometimes they don't even have it. That's the old system. It is slow, it's frustrating, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's why I've been telling you about All Family Pharmacy. My family loves it, and I use them myself. You go online, you choose what you need, you fill out a short medical form, and one of their licensed doctors reviews your request. If it's appropriate, they write up the prescription, and it ships straight to your front door. This is how healthcare should work. If you believe in being prepared like I do, this is one of the smartest moves you can make. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use the code Lindell10 to